All right, everybody, welcome to another Paranormal Highway. How is everybody today? Today, we got guests on. I know lately I haven't had a lot of guests on. We got the full Moon Paranormal team from New York coming on. So we're gonna dive into the paranormal, dive into some stuff in New York. So it's gonna be a fun, exciting show. We got Lisa, Susan, Nicole in the background right now, just ready to come up. So people go during the intro, like I always tell you, go find a bathroom, go say Bloody Mary a few times, go take a drink, make some popcorn, get some coffee, because we're going for a ride on the Paranormal Highway. And I don't have my intro ready, but here's one of my older intros that I use for Horror Talk. When you guys remember, I did Horror Talk for a while. So here we go. I see everybody in the chat are still back, so I guess they didn't go say Bloody Mary 3 times in the bathroom. I'm disappointed in that. I'm always waiting to see if somebody does a comeback and they actually try it, but nobody ever once has taken that challenge and went into the bathroom and said Bloody Mary and come back out and tell me. Have you 3 ever played that game growing up, the Bloody Mary game, by any chance?
Yeah,
everybody has, right?
They played it, and now Bloody Mary came back, sat at their computer, and is in the chat.
No, hold on. What's that in the computer now?
No, I said if they went and did it during the intro, and Bloody Mary came out of the mirror, and now she's at the chat, and now Bloody Mary's in the chat.
Okay, that's you guys are screwed in the chat now. They're all going to run and scream and run now.
I am sitting in front of a mirror, and this is the second time I've said it, so.
That is awesome. So all 3 of you are from New York, right? Not upstate New York, but you're from some part of New York.
Mid-state New York, yeah. We're from the Hudson Valley.
Okay.
So we're about an hour up from the city.
Because every year or every other year, I go to I don't know what county it is. I go basically Cortland, what's outside of Syracuse, about 15, 20 miles. I go to this town called McGraw. It's like a village of the town. Actually, McGraw had one of the first integration college of where whites and blacks were allowed to go to college together, right there in McGraw, New York. So there's a lot of history that's in that town of McGraw, and a lot of people in the chat. You guys remember I did a paranormal show from the graveyard that's behind the high school. That there's a high school, guys. No, there's a high school in McGraw that used to be the college, but there's this. If you walk behind the high school about almost a mile and a half, there's a graveyard set in the woods from the 1800s, where people have died from the pox or other things up there. And we went up there and did a little paranormal investigation. And I think Nicole, I think I said this last time to you that my wife's grandma house has a property where they actually have a graveyard on their property. There's a lot of houses in New York that actually have a graveyard, which technically they own.
Yeah, I mean, but all of New York is pretty much a graveyard if you dig deep enough.
That's true. So this group that's called the Full Moon Paranormal, are you 3 like where if somebody has any kind of activity, they could call you 3, you come out and like check it out, do investigations on it?
Yeah, we just did a private case a couple days ago, actually.
Oh, wow. So when you do a private case versus like a regular case, when you say private, is it just means that you're not allowed to like show footages from that? They want to keep it private, or do they give you permission to show it?
We have had permission to show things before, but more what we mean by private would be like a home investigation where it's just the team and it's not like a public event where we sell tickets.
I'm sorry. My dog got off the couch. Is underneath the couch. Is licking my legs. It's like, come on. I'm serious. I'm sitting here and my leg is getting clean. It's like, get away, get away. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. You said you sell tickets? Like
Yeah, so we do public events also.
Oh wow, that is so cool. You do like events like that like every year up in New York in the summer and stuff?
We do almost monthly events where we try to raise funds for local historic places in the area. A lot of times we'll get a guest speaker and we'll sell tickets and give donations or most of the proceeds to these locations to help keep their doors open.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't even know that. That's cool. So because I'm planning to go to New York. Don't know if it's July or August. It's up to the wife because it's her family that's up there. I stole her from New York. I made her move to Washington, like 3,000 miles away. The farthest you can get away from your family, New York, all the way to Seattle, Washington. But all that. But we're planning to go back up there because we go up there almost every year or every other year. So I'm hoping to go up there, like finding a week where you're doing your guys' stuff and go visit it. Go check it out.
That'd be awesome. What do we have coming up this summer? I know June we have the Lake Club shop. In September we have the Grange. What do we have coming up?
I don't think we were trying to stay away from the summer. Yeah. But we could probably get something together for a small group, not do a public event.
Yeah, we do investigator-only events too, where we'll book out a place and everybody will just kind of chip in a little donation. And it's only really professional investigators, so we don't have to lead everybody around, but everybody gets a really good chance to investigate these places that don't usually open to the public.
Shoot, we should do one in Cortland.
My
wife's family. I mean, they're family there. I mean, if they throw some kind of event, people show up. I mean, they all just show up, and I don't know what it is. It's like this town. It's kind of weird because I go in the city of New York. Nobody gives a fuck about you. They're all honking their horns in their car. They don't give a shit where you're going to. But then you go upstate New York, it's more family oriented up there. It's like all for one. Like nobody screws with us from this town. They all support each other. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Is that me or is that New York?
No, it's true.
That's New York.
That's why I heard that they wanted to try to split the city from the rest of the state because
they do.
Well, for a lot of reasons, but yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's such a high number of people in the city, and they all lean very left and very democratic. And then most of the state is, I don't know about now, but in the past, before it got so radical, they were mostly Republican. So they were trying to split.
Because you're right. Because we get to Cortland, I'm not saying American flag means Republican side, but they all have their flags and they all have Make America Great. So much in here. And I'm like, wow, I told my wife, I thought New York was very liberal. Seattle, Washington is very liberal. My wife said, yeah, but not upstate.
No.
They're not upstate. They believe in their guns and weapons and all that out here and all that.
I think there's actually a couple of militias upstate, isn't there?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Have you heard of that?
What did you say, Nicole?
There's a couple militias upstate.
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
I don't know. I
heard it's possible here. I don't.
Yeah.
What's this? In the future, to build a wall around New York and turn it to one big prison. Oh, you're talking about
New York
that movie,
the John Carpenter movie, Escape from New York.
Escape from New York.
That was such a wonderful movie. Yeah, I'm originally from California. I'm from Fresno, where they used to have that talk all the time to take the two states, cut it in half, north and south. But the I remember the south part, the LA part, don't want that because most of the water comes from the south of California because that's where more of the rain is. And in the south, like, we can't do that because then where can we get our rain? And then the north said, well, you just have to buy it from us. Know that. But when I do get to New York, one of the plans we're working on is we're trying to get permission for the 1890 house to do it all, like a whole night one without paying. Kind of give us even extra permission because my wife's, they got family who's as part of this board that's connected with the 1890 house is trying to get us permission. And if I do get permission, there's a lot of paranormal people actually in New York. I want to come down to join the investigation, just like paranormal purgatory of New York. She's from up there. I want to invite you guys come up and do a real investigation. So talking about investigation, so like say somebody calls you up for the first time, saying we think we have something in the house. I mean, what do you ask first to determine, like, we'll take this case or we'll take this other case? What will convince you to want to take a certain case? Is there something they have to say, or are you listening? You know what I mean? Like, are you listening for certain clues to make sure this is real, not fake?
Well, we pretty much take all cases, but Lisa does have a really good system for making sure, it's safe and, worth going out there. If we can help them without going out there, then we will. If you want to talk about.
Yeah, so I have a list of questions that I've compiled over the years, where we asked for the person to explain in more detail what they're dealing with, how long they've been dealing with it for, have they experienced paranormal activity at other homes and places, or did they remember dealing with it as a child or as an adult, things like that. Then I get into more questions about, like, do they toy with any forms of divination? Do they use Ouija boards? Do they use pendulums, tarot cards, things like that? And then I also ask about, alcohol, drug use, things like that, because I've been in this field for a long time. I'll be real honest, there are people that sometimes feel like that it's paranormal activity, and some of it is manifested upon themselves, whether it's life choices, lifestyle choices, whether it's certain things that they dabble in, whether, there is a mental health issue. Sometimes I have seen that where somebody, and they truly believed it was paranormal, so obviously you have to handle that with care too, because you don't want to attack the person and make them feel stupid, like, oh, it's not paranormal, you're crazy, But I have the series of questions that I go through, and I ask them to describe in detail. I let them know it's all confidential. Their answers won't be shared. Nobody is going to be judged. It's just so we can best help them. And really, every single time it's been deemed, where we felt the need to, okay, let's help. Let's go and go to their home or wherever and do the investigation, because they did seem like it was legit. But we've never... actually there's one, but most of the time it's never anything that is harmful or scary or anything like that. There was one we had like a year and a half ago that was questionable if it was more than just your typical, paranormal activity, like a spirit trying to co-inhabit, because that was their house or that was their land or whatever, or even a deceased relative. Sometimes, like, that's what we came down was the conclusion Monday. It was a deceased relative that the woman's child was seeing. But even then, it wasn't anything that turned out to be what you call demonic, but it was very heavy, and it was, a little frightening, but it was a blessing. We went to show him that it turned out it was just a bully spirit that he knew when they were alive. So
Wow.
people don't, I truly feel like you take your personalities with you when you die. So,
Oh yeah.
and this person was a bit of a bully in life, and they were kind of trying to be a bully in death. And yeah,
That is so interesting. It really is. If you get deep into it, somebody dies, and how their attitude was in real life, that same kind of attitude is there in the afterlife. Like if you're a jerk, an asshole, they could be a bigger jerk and asshole even in the afterlife. It makes you wonder, like what, I mean, you could go down a rabbit hole on this. Like, is that the reason why they don't go where they're supposed to go? Is that why they're stuck? Can they not go until they become nice? I mean, it's
I don't think some of them will ever become nice. Some of them have been around hundreds of years, and that's just who they are.
Do any of you have what they call abilities, like you can sense without equipment? Like, you know what I mean? Oh, Susan? Oh, you're a conduit?
Both of them.
Both of you are. So you can actually maybe feel something there before you even put out any equipment.
Yeah, we like to not tap into anything. We try not to tap. We don't share what we pick up because another member also can sense things. So we'll usually keep our thoughts to ourselves until we get closer. And it's interesting because a lot of times we will feel, see, experience the exact same things. And it's kind of interesting when I say, well, I see a man, he looks like this. And then Lisa says, oh, I see the same guy and I'm feeling this from him. And I'm like, wow, I feel that emotion from him as well. And it's just kind of, it's nice to have somebody who can say, oh yeah, I sense the same thing. So that's cool when that
really
happens.
cool.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, it's really cool being in the car with the three of you because I'm the only one that's not psychic sensitive. But they'll try to tune in on the way to a place and compare notes in what they are getting before we even step foot in the place. And they'll be like spot on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always, and I'll be the first to say it's not always. Actually, 9 times out of 10, though, it has been where we've all picked up on the same things, but we don't always pick up on the same things. But that doesn't even mean one of us are wrong because we're getting something different. I'm a medium. That's what I do for a living, and I teach classes, and that's actually how I met Susan. She was one of my students. So I see it as sometimes our energies are each unique. And certain energies you're going to vibe with, even like in life, when you meet people and other people, you don't feel like you vibe with them. It doesn't mean they're a bad person or anything. It's just, it's not your tribe. I kind of like try to dumb it down and make it where it makes sense to people. So sometimes there could be, say Susan's picking up on a little boy and maybe in some way she relates or her energy can relate to that little boy, but maybe I can't relate to the little boy, but I can relate to the woman's spirit that's in the house, so it's nice. It's validating when we do all get the same thing, but we don't always all get the same thing, but it doesn't mean any of us are wrong.
You know,
Susan gets kids a lot because she's a teacher.
I get kids. I get kids a lot.
I'm so glad you all brought that up because earlier today I was watching another channel called Bigfoot Michigan Rob. He's a fantastic channel. He's a good friend of this channel. And Rob and Tech's Front Porch had a guest on named Katie Turner, who's a paranormal investigator and psychic. And they were asking her, like, Rob was asking her this question. And I'm like, that's a damn good question. Like, why does somebody have those abilities? And then, like, some of us don't. Like, I don't. Nicole said she doesn't. I mean, is there, like, I don't know if you know the answer, but do you know, is there a reason why you can do it and we can't? Because, like you said, Lisa, you said you actually have a class on this. So is this something that you can actually teach somebody to be able to sense?
Yeah.
You can?
It's like, I always like to call it the internal GPS. We all have it because we all have a soul, right? And our soul came right into a body. And if you believe, right? Because not everybody believes in this. That's why I'm always like, disclaimer, if you believe in reincarnation, like our soul. So right, we pass away, we go to heaven, right? That's the term we'll use. And then when we're ready to reincarnate to learn another lesson, we'll reincarnate and then we'll die again. And there's this cycle. So our soul already knows how to communicate because when we're in a soul and don't have a body, we don't have a brain, we don't have a mouth. Everything is done telepathically when you're communicating soul to soul. So when you're reading, whether it's mediumistically or psychically, you're taking your energy and you're putting it out, whether it's you're raising it up to connect with somebody that's passed or you're kind of putting it out, you're like your energy or your aura out to blend with the person who's living that you're reading. So with that being said, does that make sense to you that we can all do it because we all have a soul? It's whether or not you're aware and you're open to it. And some people I have noticed there are some people that I feel like are hypersensitive and it comes easier to them. But I also feel like there could be a purpose behind that. That could have been one of the lessons or one of their purposes when they came here. So they, end up having it so much stronger that they use it for a purpose. You know,
Well,
whether
here's
it's a reader or whether using it for healing, you know, because not everybody has it and uses it just to read people and connect for people.
Well, here's
Some,
a damn good question from
Yeah.
Carla Webster from the UK. She wrote, "Do you find paranormal experience have been increasing over the years, or is it mostly the same as it always been for you?"
I think it's the same as it's always been, but I think people are much more open to it right now.
Mhm.
It's more
So-
accepted to talk
Well,
about.
Susan, you were just doing it. So you went to Lisa's class. Is it because you thought you might have something and you needed to get it more out of it, or is it something that you went in there blank and then you learned how to use it?
I had already taken other classes, so I take classes with different mediums because everybody does things their own way. So I knew that I could already connect to the other side, but it's interesting to work with other people and get different techniques because there's techniques. I call it, for me, anyone can do it. I believe anyone can do it. It's the ability to shut your brain off and like stop listening to your brain and tap into your what you feel, what you hear, sense. You know, that's if you can shut your brain off, you can do it. It's just allowing yourself to shut your brain off and trust
that's
what
the trick.
comes in.
And that's
Whatever
the trick.
you
Draw.
trust.
And that's the trick. I mean, that really is the trick because people know in my chat that I you know, just tell the truth Thursday. Tell the truth Thursday is anytime we're on a show, you're supposed to tell the truth because it's Tell the Truth Thursday. And I tell people that I go to a mental health class. You know, I see a psychologist and all that. And one of the things they try to teach you is to like meditate, like to get everything out of your mind. And, you know, I'm the first one that's honest, and that's the hardest thing to do. And I tell them it's hardest. You know, I sit there trying to blank everything out, but somehow I can't. It's like, it is like a muscle you have to keep trying and doing. You know, I've been being in his classes for 3 months now, and I still can't get everything out of my mind. But I guess with time, if I keep trying, I will.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're like, wow. And when you do it, when you can release your mind of all the noise, because it's a lot of noise, even like in meditation, when you can do it, it's extremely relaxing. Meditation, when you shut that part of your brain that's always thinking and always like engaged, it's very relaxing. And it's, I don't know, it's just so relaxing. You feel rejuvenated, you have more energy. You'll love it. You'll be like, oh, this is great. I'm glad I worked for this.
Now, I know this might be kind of a crazy question somebody's asking from the chat, but I've heard this from certain people with abilities that said, yes, if they take certain kind of a psychedelic drug, like if they smoke some marijuana or something, they can increase visions. Is that, what do you think of that statement?
So we have a friend who is doing not psychedelic drugs, but he is doing like that light bar thing to enhance his abilities during investigations. And it's supposed to induce the same kind of response in the brain. So that's pretty interesting to see him do that.
God, I'm so happy that people are saying the same thing with me, that, you know, they have the same problem too, switching it off, you know, and I can't switch it off either. And, you know, I'm going to classes for that, to do that, because I get not jealous. You know, when I sit there and see people do yoga and they sit there and I'm sitting there like, how are they doing that? You know, because it's hard for me, you know, so it's hard for me to understand because I can't do that yet, but I know it's there. I'm going to work hard at it. I'm going to get there.
My best advice to you would be you start small, because it's like a muscle. You got to train it. Also, if you try to go too long at first, if you have an overactive mind, you get frustrated and you quit you quit completely and you say, I'm done. I can't do this. I just can't do it. Right. You think you can't do it. And I'm one of those people that has an extremely overactive mind. And the first time I meditated, I remember sitting here like bouncing my leg. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is torture. When is this going to end? I have to go home. I have to do laundry. What should I cook for dinner? Right. Like your mind.
Yes.
I'm that person.
Yes.
So 2 minutes a day. And some people love the silence. I can't do a silent meditation. I can't just sit there. I need a guided meditation. Because that way, if I start to get into my own head again and I catch myself, then I say, oh, go back to the meditation. And then I start listening to somebody else speak, taking me down the path, and blah, 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 wherever they're taking you. So, but my biggest recommendation would be like, even if it's for a month, do 2 minutes a day. And then after a month, up it to 3 or 4 minutes a day and just slowly build it. You'll be able to do it that way.
I can only
just like Chiro, great advice. He's from the Midwest channel. She has also a fantastic channel where they explore everything themselves too. Now that is great advice because you know, when you go to a regular doctor, I'm not giving advice about doctors, but you know, they're always like, well, you probably had ADHD, you probably need this, you'll need this, you need to take this, you need to take this, and it's like. And I remember one time in my life I did take this, but it made me feel like a zombie. It's like made me not feel what I want to do. Made me feel like I'm dead inside. It's like I don't want to feel dead inside. I want to be able to feel free so I can do it, because I always feel when you go on an investigation, you can have all the best tools in the world. You know, the best EMP, the best cameras, but the best tool is yourself. You are the best tool. You yourself is all you need. Most of the time, the tools are just there to try to like show other people proof that exists. Because all of us know they exist.
Yeah.
Every one of us have had an experience over and over. But
it's just
now,
another
some
layer.
people did say if they had like a near-death experience or they saw a ghost for the first time. I was listening to, like I said, on Mrs. Rob's channel where somebody had an incident that happened that really created their minds to be open. Now, without learning how to meditate, you think that's true? Where something triggered you? It could be either near death, you saw a ghost, a UFO, Bigfoot. Something made you somehow be more open to your surroundings.
I've seen it personally. It's actually what happened to me. Wasn't a near-death experience, but I had a major life trauma that it was almost like a light switch. But I have also met and spoken to people that have had NDEs before, and it's the same thing. All of a sudden they have this higher awareness and we're more sensitive. And I truly feel like it has to do also with, I mean, at least this is my opinion on it from what I've studied and seen with doing readings, I feel like if we're supposed to be more aware of it at some point in our life, like maybe there's other things that have to happen beforehand before we have that, we're open to like that greater perception, that it's almost like it's set in stone that something's supposed to happen, like that light switch that's then supposed to trigger it at a certain point in your life. But that's just from my own research and things over the years. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but
this is why I love doing these shows. We're not technically talking about inside of a haunted house. You're giving great advice where, like Carla Webster wrote, Lisa Morrison, that's great advice. I'll try, see how it works. So this is encouraging some people to try some of these techniques to get to that point. Because I truly believe that every house, every place on this planet has some kind of spirit. Now, are they strong enough to be seen? Of course, that's another difference, you know. But do you all believe that maybe some ghosts have the power to want to be seen and not be seen in your experience that you've seen out there?
I think so, right? It's the same as tapping in, like mediumistic, like you're going to tap into who wants to connect with you, like Lisa was saying. So, you know, somebody could be sitting right here with me and I'm not tuned into them. I don't know they're here. I think energy is all around us. So I think absolutely they're around us all the time. We're just not aware of it.
Yeah,
and when we want to connect, they connect.
Down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like the middle of the night when my guard was like super down and I was super exhausted, I don't see him all the time.
Yeah, you know, I was doing a show live one time, and one of my friends, Amber's Paraworld, she's a medium herself. And I remember she goes, she was actually live on my show, and she goes, Eric, I need to talk to you after the show because I'm seeing somebody next to you. And I remember ending the show, and, you know, I believe in all of us. I'm not saying I was skeptical. I'm like, I'm curious what she's got to say. And then there's somebody standing next to you. But what gets you is when they start describing that person, and there's certain things about this person that nobody knows, nobody knew. And she's named it because I had a brother who became a sister and had skin cancer on top of the forehead, really bad, where they had to do a big cut, which I actually had a little bit here, and left a dent in the head.
Mhm.
Nobody knew that. Never said it on air. She goes, and this person, I don't understand, but I see it like a dent on the head, and I'm sitting there like, how do you know that? I never told you. You know what I mean? It's like people do have these abilities because, I mean, how would they know? I mean, I know people could guess things right, but you can't guess certain body parts with dents on their heads and all that without knowing the group or knowing the person. You know? Because when she said, I think it's a female, but I see some guys like, my brother became a girl. my brother became a sister. It's weird. It really is. It's, you know, in a small way, it's the coolest thing. And then I want to talk to you about this because we did it. She did a private session with me and 2 other people. And they're talking about how many oh God, what do you call it? How many lives you have? What do they call it? How many past lives you have?
Past life regression thing.
Yeah, and she goes, Eric, one girl had Nona Boss had 13, and I have 8 past lives. So and that's interesting. I'm like, I have 8 past lives. Like, you mean like 8 different people have died, and their soul is now me? I mean, do you 3 believe in the past lives? Like people can remember their past lives?
So I studied with Dr. Brian Weiss. I don't know if you know who that is, but he wrote Many Lives, Many Masters, and Many Souls, Many Bodies. And I studied and learned regression therapy through him. He was a psychiatrist, and the first book came out in the 80s. So I mean, I've been regressed. I do give regressions. And I have seen some really crazy things with people and past life recall. So I believe in it. I know not everybody does, but there's certain things that even people I've seen where in a regression, I mean, I can even use one of my own. Things that have been carried into this lifetime that I didn't realize were from a past life until I was regressed, and I linked them together, and then that piece of my life was healed after that.
Carla, she told me one of my past lives, and I know it's Tell the Truth Thursday, but it's one of those past lives like, no, don't tell me that. No. Because one of my past lives, now she didn't say if I was this or this, but she said I was in a past life, I hate to say it, during the slavery time. And she didn't tell me if she couldn't see if I was the slave or the bad people. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. You know, can we go back to I'm a warrior? You know, I'm a sword fighter for the Vikings.
If you look at it this way, though, we have to live different lives in order to like achieve the oneness, right? With the universe or consciousness or God, whatever term you want to use. It's all the same thing to me. In order to do that, we have to keep coming back, and we have to live, different races, different sex. Sometimes we're male, sometimes we're female. Sometimes we come from poverty. Sometimes we're royalty. So we can learn unconditional love and the balance of male and female.
Okay. You know, it's just one of those things I wasn't expecting to hear. And
But
then
is
Nona
anybody
Boss,
feeling
she had cool ones. She had cool past lives. I'm like, you get that? I get this.
It's not black and white. Maybe it wasn't, all bad. Maybe, there was some reasons behind what you did or who you were.
But it's just interesting because you think when she told me 8, I'm like, well, does somebody have to die before you become to the next person? Or could you have, right there, Nona Boss, she was there in that reading with me. And she had like 13, I had 8, so she could witness what she was telling me. And it's like, I didn't want to know I don't want to be the person that did that. But you're right. Sometimes bad things happen certain times in life, and then you maybe somehow in your mind here, you learn to better yourself. You learn, you know what I mean? Like, that's not me. I don't know if it's out of your system or not, but I don't know. It's
Yeah, it's all. I look at Earth, us and as humans and Earth as school. This is school or a video game, you know. And then when we, you know, we learn the lessons we set out to do in this lifetime, then we move up to the next level and we reincarnate as a different person, different situations, different family life to learn the next lesson and then the next lesson. Like it's so.
Now, I don't know if this is a joke, because Danny wrote, "If you're really bad, you come back as a snake." But technically, you think somebody like I don't know if you know this, but say I pass away, and I come back as a life, but to an animal than a person. You think animals have past lives too?
I had this conversation before with my Reiki master, and she made a really, really good point. And also, there was an animal communicator that was there as well. This was years ago. Animals know nothing when they're born but unconditional love. We as humans could not come back as an animal. Like, not to say they're above us, but they're kind of above us. They only, unless they're abused and neglected and kind of taught how to become, you know, like people, for example, everybody's always going after pit bulls, right? And pit bulls are the sweetest animals. It's all about, you know, how they're treated. They don't know anything, but they want your attention, your affection, and to be fed.
You know what, Lisa? My wife always says, remember, everybody, you might not think the dog's your whole life when you're going out, leaving the dog at the house, but to that dog, you're that dog's whole life.
It's true.
All that dog wants to do is make you happy. And I'm like, that is so true. I mean, dogs
Nobody
is
loves
everything, you know?
dogs.
Like you can see mine right there sleeping. If you're snoring, she snores loud. She's an English bulldog, and she snores loud.
Mhm.
That is interesting. So saying that, can a haunting be? Then maybe an animal can't be part of a haunting, or could an animal be part of a haunting?
We've had animal hauntings before. We've had experiences where this man that we went to his place to check out what he had going on, and I thought it was a cat coming out from under the bed. It was like this dark black solid shadow. And I'm like, oh crap, that's not a cat. Like, that's not anything living. Come out, all freaked out. And I'm like, nope. That's where his dog used to hang out before she passed. And he's heard scratching under the bed. And we got an EVP of her barking. So there was,
and we were on the other side of the door talking about the dog. Nicole had no idea. She had no idea what we were discussing. And it was wild. She's like, something was on. She came out. We were like, he's like, that's my dog. She described what she saw, where it came from. And the guy was like, that is my dog to a T. And she had no idea that he even had this deceased dog. She wasn't part of the conversation. That was cool.
That was.
Wow.
That was cool.
No, that is cool. And so what was and a lot of people have said also animals can sense like spirits, good or evil, in a house too, or wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to pull up because I wanted to I want to show you three something.
Yeah. You know, animals and babies or young children before their minds are before they go. My bird's screaming.
About animals.
My bird wants to be involved. She sounds like the polar devil bird.
Lisa, Joe in the chat would really like to see your bird.
Oh, really?
Where do you see this bird?
Come on. Go ahead, say hello, Penny.
Okay, I think I got it. Now I want to ask you this first. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you three believe in? Before I show you this, do you three believe in portals? Like
I do.
Portals from spirits and stuff could come through. Like I don't know. It could be spirits, demons, devils, good, evil. I don't know. But you believe that portals can exist?
I feel that there's places where the bridge between, whatever dimensions is thinner.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how I see it. It's almost like a doorway, portal, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to this is my theory, like on Bigfoot, for example. how he's there and then he's gone. And then we have people that document footprints, or they actually have videos or photos, but then all of a sudden they're gone. But yet we can't find, nobody's found a dead body of a Bigfoot, or, I feel like that's exactly what that is. They come in and out of a dimension. So I do, like Nicole said, it's almost like there's certain areas or locations where it's thinner, where it's like their doorways to come in and out of this plane.
Oh, because I'm gonna because there's a reason why I'm gonna there's a reason why I'm gonna show you this, because there's a place by my house. We call it the Devil's Hand because there's this weird kind of a tree shape that, if you really look at it, it looks like a devil's hand, like the way it grew up. And the local story is, there's a portal there. Even my brother, who's staying on live on a show in that portal, you saw him just started sweating in this portal. Now, I put a light there to because my brother believes in, like, if it could be something evil there, you give it a gift, so it doesn't harm you or not. So I put a light there. I went to take my dog there, and when we got near there, my dog would not go where the Devil's Hand is. I mean, here, let me just show. So
The Devil's Hand.
So we're going to the devil.
Been a few days. Let's see.
I did a live show from there on my channel last week.
It's hard to pull my dog.
Let me go a little more up.
Let's see. Hold on, Liza. Come on.
Right there. She will not go forward. She would not move from that spot. She would not go to the Devil's Hand.
Oh,
that's the Devil's Hand right there.
You see it?
So that's like the palm of the hand. And I have a little light there, but my dog right there would not go forward.
Look! Oh, there's my light.
And
you see it?
And then my little light I put on the ground.
There it is.
As my gift to it.
There it is. I gotta fix it.
Right. You go back, and I tried to get my dog to come. Come on. Where's the dog?
She doesn't want to come over here. I think she does. Look at her. Come here, girl.
In your opinion, and I'm being honest with this, do you think, if you believe that there's portals that my dog sense it and it will not go there? Because my dog was walking fine until we got to that point where she said, nope, I'm not coming.
I don't know if it's a portal, but dogs can definitely sense, changes in energy. They know when you're sick. They know when you're happy. They know when something's just off, and they're going to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
And they can hear things we can't hear.
Yes, that's true.
So who's to say what they're hearing?
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
They can hear things, they sense things, cats, dogs, all animals, right? They leave before an earthquake. The animals get quiet and leave and fly out of the area. The birds leave, animals leave the area. People don't even know what's coming or happening, and they're gone because they can sense it. They can feel it.
Yeah. And especially an English bulldog, they're so just so lovable. And so I just want to be on you and love you all the time. You know what I mean? So for them to act that way, you know what I mean? They're like dogs that like everybody, for them to act that way, just being in the woods.
But they're stubborn. You were not going to get him to go. They're not going to go where they don't want. He's like, I'm done.
Oh, see, and that's why my friend.
That's my point. Before that, she was walking everywhere, but I get to that point, I said, "Oh, there's the Devil's Hand." Then I'm like, "No." Now, is it luck? Could be, but that's not the first time that I go there, and she will not go to that spot for whatever reason. Even before that video that I have on camera, it's like she knows there's something there. So, like I said, my brother and I believe there is something there because my brother himself was sweating at that spot. And it was a cool breeze day because behind it is the Puget Sound. So you got all that cool ocean water. Mm-hmm. There was no reason to start sweating with these trees. But, you know, it's fun. It's
Well,
fun.
you even hear about people who say like their dogs are barking at the wall or baring their teeth or scared out of nowhere, you know, when there is, you know, paranormal activity in the house or they feel like they're having a visitation from a loved one that's passed. Like the dog knows better that who is, like, they can see or sense that there's something in the corner of the room, for example, and they're like trying to alert you.
Well, think about all the things scientifically that they can sense that we can't. Like dogs can alert for, you know, when your blood sugar is low, when you're about to have a seizure, when you're about to have an anxiety attack.
Right. How they could be trained to alert somebody to save you. Yeah. Or to pull on you or
more attuned to things.
And I love seeing people in the chat talking about portals because I see Carlos answering somebody else. Yeah, only I saw the portal open. It was a circle of white light, but not super bright like I expected it to be, still bright. Not sure if I'm explaining that or well. So it's just kind of cool seeing people talk like that. So other people have seen some sort of a portal. But for you three, when you go into a house, can you determine, you know, with both of your gifts together and Nicole there, like, is this a normal spirit haunting or no, this is something not human that died. This is evil. Could you sense between a normal human dying versus a demon?
It's very, 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 very rare that you're ever going to run into a demon. Most likely you're going to run into just a nasty, nasty human.
But you're saying demons still exist. You're saying it's rare, but you're saying they do exist.
But, you know, not to the extent like, you know, people on TV are like, oh, it's a demon. It's a demon. Most likely if you have a haunting and you are still of sound mind and body to call us in, it's a not nice human.
No, not questioning you, but how do you still know?
Well,
what you're seeing there is not a demon; it's more human. I mean, is there like a sense of feeling? Is it?
Well,
we gotta put them through tests.
Well, here would be the thing. I get what you're saying, like as far as actually sensing it on a, like a mediumistic level or an energetic level, and not so much just like the investigation piece to it, Eric. Here's where it's confusing. Now, I've never, knock on wood, I've never been as far as I'm aware around something demonic. And like Nicole said, it is so super rare. But with that being said, you know, I have delved into learning more about demonology and I wouldn't know how to answer that because from what I understand, they're tricksters, right? Because they want to get you in. So, you know, I don't know unless I was in that situation where I was walking into a place, the energy may feel off to me or could feel heavy. But I also have watched, you know, cases where they mimic being a little girl, for example, you know, to gain your trust or, you know, so it's hard to say that unless you've been in it. So I don't know. Is there anybody on here that's ever experienced that? You know, that would be, I'd be interested, you know, to know.
Do you want to talk about the case where the spirit mimicked a demon?
That was the one Lisa brought up before.
Yeah.
That was one that we even smelled like sulfur, rotten eggs. And when that odor started to come through, up to that point, we were not really sure what was happening. We were having, you know, hard evidence with cat balls going off, REM pods, things going off. And when we all started to smell that, then it was like, what are we dealing with? You know, then it got to be a little like unnerving because you're like, wow, are we equipped to deal with that? Really? Are you equipped to deal with a demon? There's people who train to deal with that. And are we in like over our heads? Do we need to, you know, leave and send somebody in that is equipped to deal with that? And then we all just sat there nice and calm and we just kind of gave it a moment. And that's when we started working through it and getting the evidence that it was just this really, really terrible human when he was here on Earth. He was a big bully and he was trying to intimidate this relative of his. And we left. Lisa did a cleansing of the house. And when we left, I think the man felt a little bit better. knowing it wasn't, we didn't feel it was a demon, but it was a lower level energy that was trying to really get him. And he was doing a really good job. The spirit was really doing a good job of scaring this man.
He was
even got
convinced there were hellhounds chasing him at one point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was scary.
You three might think this is funny, but I have a friend named Clowns. He calls himself Clowns. He used to have a YouTube channel, and he calls himself the Demon Hunter. He doesn't want to search for ghosts. He wants to search for demons. And he tells me, I don't know if this is true or not. He goes, Eric, demons hate peanut butter. He told me that. He goes, always bring a peanut butter with you on an investigation. So when my brother comes up to Washington from California, when we go on investigation, my brother always has a small little jar of peanut butter just in case. Because you never know if he's telling the truth or not. And every investigator I've asked, have you guys heard about the peanut butter deal? And they all say they never heard of it. So I don't know if it's made up or if it's true that demons hate peanut butter.
I don't know. I've never tried. We'll have to try next time. We did holy water. We recited the Lord's Prayer, had crosses and rosaries. That's kind of how we test, because if it's something that's actually a demon, you're going to get some kind of reaction to those things. But next time we'll add peanut butter too.
Well, I'm thinking, I go, Clowns, is it just maybe at that one case you were at, maybe that person or demon from another life hated peanut butter and it just happened to help you? He goes, no, Eric, it helps me on several. And he had some videos of recording of him getting scratches, going to abandoned churches and all that. And I'm like, wow, that's got to be some kind of a strong to haunt a church, I would think, even though the church isn't abandoned. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, can a church, would it take a hard spirit and stuff to haunt a church because it's once had holy water, or you know what I mean, a man of cloth?
There's a lot of demons in churches.
There are. I mean, you wouldn't think they should be, right? Because you would think the place has been blessed.
Well,
You would think, but where there's sin, you're inviting them in.
Really? That is interesting. But I mean, technically, who's inviting them in? I mean, really? I mean, does some crazy person go to abandoned church and say, demons, I want you to come in? I mean, do you think that's all it takes to invite something evil to come into a place? Is somebody inviting them?
But if you're supposed to be this holy person and you're doing very unholy things or living in an unholy way, I think it would open up some doors for demons to come in.
Well, that's a good point. Churches are energy centers, good and bad. That is true, because you have a place with massive amount of people. So there would be massive amount of energy that was once there or not. I used to live by Gettysburg, and you always feel stuff at Gettysburg because you think of all the people that have died there. That's a lot of deaths. That's a lot of bodies. Mm-hmm. I mean, not all spirits go somewhere. So that place is very, very haunted. It doesn't mean you're going to see something, but I'm sure there is. So out of all the investigations you go on average, I'm sure you got on a lot of investigations where you saw absolutely nothing. I mean, is there like a percentage that you could say that most places you've gone to were haunted versus not being haunted? Is it a higher percentage on one side or the other?
I think we get a lot of activity everywhere we go because we have a very good vibes together, and I think we kind of draw things out. We're very spoiled when it comes to that. Well, some places definitely have more activity than others.
And I believe that if you have mediums with you, that some spirits know that they're a medium, and maybe they want to go near you so you can sense that they're there. They want to be heard, or they want to be seen.
Yeah, they like to call out me and our other team member, who's also Lisa, all the time.
Carla said, am I right that demons are entitled to have never been born in this realm?
Oh, and yeah, from my understanding, the fallen angels, they never inhabited a body.
See, that's another side too. If demons are real, then there have to be some kind of a truth to the story. I'm not getting religious here, but a heaven and hell, because that's a question itself. Is that real or not? But if you have a demon that was never born, that makes you think that there's got to be some truth to the story on some kind of level.
It's actually funny that this is even coming up, because literally a week ago I had conversations with two different people. One of them is somebody that we've investigated with before, and like a friend of ours who's in New Jersey. And I also had a conversation with a friend of mine who she doesn't do so much paranormal stuff. She's more on the mediumship side of things. I always struggled with whether or not hell really existed. And I always looked at it as there just being different like different levels, like I said, with the reincarnation. And if you did learn your lessons, or if you were a horrible person and you hurt someone in life, killed somebody, stole, whatever, you start at level 1 all over again. And then something recently came up about, I was told that there's near-death experiences where people have written about when they've gone to hell, and I had never heard that before. So I started researching this and went down this whole rabbit hole that's now started to get me to question, does hell exist? And I took several classes last year and like lectures in demonology out of interest and knowledge. So now I am kind of there, where I feel like there is two sides. There has to be dark and light. My daughter actually explained to me the other day, which I can't remember what it was. There's the scientific piece too, why you need to have black or darkness to have light. She's very sciencey though. So there is a science piece to that, as well as an energetic component, as well as look if you turn on the news, the world isn't pretty. The world is not pretty right now, in lots of different countries for lots of different reasons. Which I feel like that demonic energy, could be trying to, right? It's a force. It's a good versus bad,
I know. I have a grandpa who's actually was a minister, but I was never really religious. I'm not saying it's not real or not. I'm open to truth. That's why we're all here, right? Trying to find the truth. In my life, we've seen a Bigfoot when I was a kid. We've seen, I've seen like ghost stuff that, with the Gettysburg story and all that. So, we've seen stuff, and we don't know the answers to everything. That's why we do this, trying to find the answers. And I always tell this to people, but the paranormal is always more interesting than a Bigfoot and an alien, because a Bigfoot and alien, they're either real or they're not. But if you prove a spirit is real, but then everything opens up like, well, how is that spirit real? That means there is somewhere that we go when we passed away, because if it's an energy, something had to happen for that energy to be there, right? I mean, some people believe that once we die, we just go blank. That's it.
Right.
But if there's an energy, a ghost there, that opens up a whole new world, like a whole new dimension than saying Bigfoot's real or not, or an alien real or not. Spirit, you know what I mean? I mean, if Bigfoot's a spirit's real, what is it? Why are they here? Where do we go?
Continuation of consciousness.
Yes.
But then you also have to look at what's the difference between what's a ghost and what's a spirit, because to me, a ghost is really what is residual energy, right? Like
even that itself is how can that happen? Like you said, like a record just plays over and over and over again. How does that happen?
Right. Versus
I mean, it's just
spirit, which would be a soul is our soul, which is intelligent, and that's that continuation of the consciousness. That's a good question.
Fiona told me at one point, my daughter, that a ghost is somebody who was a person once, and a spirit is somebody who is never a person.
Also, she said the opposite.
Mm-hmm. That was when she was like using a pendulum. She was like, "Are you a ghost or a spirit?" I was like, "What's the difference?" That's what she told me.
I mean, technically, we're all talking theories in a way. We don't know 100%. It's not like it's written in front of us that we know exactly. We're just talking our opinions on what something could be. Like for you, Lisa, like, since you three are doing investigation, I'll ask Susan and Nicole after you. Like, but was there something that happened to you that made you like, I gotta look into the paranormal? I gotta see what's going on here. Was there like a scare to you? Did you see something? Did somebody talk to you in an afterlife that made you wanna, I gotta do this with my life now?
As far as the paranormal side, no.
Yeah, the paranormal
was-
side. Like, what made you? Did something happen to you that made you gotta start going to people's houses and researching?
No, I was just drawn to it. Like most people
That's it?
most people I meet have a story. Like something happened, whether it was as a child or as an adult, something they saw, something they couldn't explain, they wanted to know more. No, I've always just been drawn to it. I didn't know at the time, though. I had been investigating on and off for probably 8 or 9 years prior to finding out I was a medium. I didn't know I was a medium until I was in my late 20s. So that
That's
that
gotta be
was
weird.
a whole something happened and it triggered that to turn on. But the paranormal side, I've just always been intrigued by it. I always felt that there was something more, but I don't know why I knew that.
You know what, Lisa? I understand what you're saying. You know, people ask me, Eric, why do you want to go investigate the Bigfoot out in the mountains? Why do you want to see if they're real? You saw one as a kid. Was that it? I go, no. When I was a kid, our family always told us that Bigfoot was real. There was no internet. Like Santa Claus was real. We thought from the beginning that Bigfoot was
real.
part of the woods, like a bear and a lion. I'm serious. We didn't know any better. You keep being told that, you know? So when we finally had our experience when I was 11, like, oh, Dad, there's one right there, you know? Because like when you hear about bears, unless you go to a zoo, you get very lucky if you see a bear in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just don't walk out in the woods and you see one. So for us, it wasn't. I was just intrigued. And then when I went to school, I told this to people in the chat, like when we went to school, I said, yeah, we actually saw Bigfoot over the weekend. Bigfoot don't exist. And I was like shocked. Like, what do you mean Bigfoot don't exist? I thought everybody thought Bigfoot existed. You know what I mean? I mean, that was your surrounding. That's what people told you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I know he's real. But what about you, Susan? Is it the same thing for you, or did something happen to you to get into it?
I had we had things going on. I had all kinds of experiences from when I was a child all the way up through my whole life. And then this goes ways back. Then, you know, you have a family, you have kids and you work and you get kind of busy. But my husband and I were like addicted to Ghost Hunters when it first came on. And it fascinated me because it was tapping into all those things that I had experienced. And a lot of things that I experienced also happened when someone close to me would die and then weird things would happen. And so it was always like, it's God, there has to be something more. But then I took the class, I started studying like mediumship and going, okay, so now I have a different level of understanding, right? So, but this is just me understanding it. It's hard for other people to see what you're experiencing. And so Lisa had joined the group and then they had an empty spot. And she said, hey, listen, they have an empty spot. And I truly believe the universe puts things in your path. And so I joined the group. And it has been so fascinating because so many things that I wondered and that I've experienced in my life, now we have like, and it's hard for people who don't really believe for them to understand until they come to our events and they see things happening in front of them, you know, little things, capels going off or REM pods going off, you know, we have the motion sensors and they're going off down hallways and you can clearly see there is no one there. And even they're like, wait a minute, how can that be? So that's why I love it, because it's reinforcing all those things that I've believed and have experienced my whole life. And now it's like hard evidence right there. I love it. We have so much fun going out together.
You know, it's kind of funny you mentioned the word ghost hunter, because this last week somebody asked me, Eric, if you had to pick one, what do you think is more real, ghost hunters or ghost adventures? You know, and I said, well, you know, they're both exaggerated in some level. I feel that ghost adventures is way more exaggerated than ghost hunters. I said, I think ghost hunters is a little bit more real because it's more boring. I go, most investigations aren't as exciting as ghost adventures. You being scratched, you're running down the hallway. Yeah. Most of it is just hearing maybe one or two voices during the night, you know? People are not running crazy. I go, Zach and his team, they're actors. I mean, they are more actors than ghost hunters. You know, I can't prove one's more real than the other, but ghosts, you guys know investigations aren't as super exciting as you see on TV when they put the music in it. A lot of times you're there for 8 hours, the whole night, and you might get one little sound and that's it. And then, and you still question that sound you heard.
Mhm.
But Nicole, I think I asked you that before, but Nicole, what about you? What got you into it? You're the young gun of the group.
I have been literally as long as I can remember into the paranormal. I channeled my great grandmother at one point, like before I even knew what paranormal was. I have always been in like the New Age section, reading all the ghost books, the witch books, meditations, energy, everything. Now I steer more towards the equipment and the science behind everything. I've really shut down all of the more woo-woo parts of it because I don't trust myself. So even though I've had like experiences like channeling in the past, I don't really lean into that. But there's no like one moment. It's just always been a thing. I've always heard things, seen things. It's just been a constant in my life.
So Nicole, I know Susan was in Lisa's class, so that's how they got together. How did you get together with Susan and Lisa? I mean, what made you want to be in their group?
Well, they wanted to be in my group.
Yeah.
Oh, they wanted to be in your group. Okay.
And we all wanted
the
to
group
be
started
in
with
the
you,
other Lisa's
Nicole?
group. No, we all wanted to be in the other Lisa's group. She's not here. She got stuck at work and couldn't make it. But the other Lisa LaScala, and Debbie actually started Full Moon. It was just the two of them. And they were doing an event at the Chance Theater in Poughkeepsie. And I was going to go get tickets. And it's one of those things, like Susan said, it was just like kismet. I saw that they were looking for an investigator. It was the first event of Full Moon Paranormal that they ever did. And we hit it off. And literally it was like the beginning of an era. And then we did that, and we did a couple more events. Lisa and Susan came not that long after.
Are they mediums too? The other two?
They lean more into the abilities. Lisa LaScala is really getting into her. She does really great spirit art now. She'll sit there and draw what she's seeing, and
that's so
she's
cool.
really developing that.
Because I'm always curious, like, since like Lisa, Susan got some abilities and they do, and when you're all together, because you talk about chemistry, can that chemistry all together when you're out together on investigation have your own abilities even stronger? You know how like they said, like the craft, when you combine other people's abilities, it's even stronger.
Yeah. And we have a really great network too of people, investigators that we work with regularly and do these investigator only events with. And the chemistry between everybody is so amazing. Everybody kind of has their little niches, the things that they like to do, that they do well. And when you combine it all, we get really great results.
So why are you against guys? There's no guys in this group?
No, it started as all female, and that's how we kept it. That's our thing. But we do work with men regularly with, our little para-unity group.
My brother believes that everybody knows Dr. Wu. He can be a little crazy from time to time, but he truly does believe that the best thing to do on an investigation is bring women investigators, because ghosts can feel more honesty with the women versus the men. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but there's more peace feeling with women versus men. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he believes.
Well, if you're in the 1800s and you're in somebody's, bedroom, a woman is going to be more accepted to be in there, whether it's a man or a woman spirit, than a big man coming in there being like, yo, what's your name? How old are you?
Yeah, like a guy like Zach comes in, come touch me, and a female probably walking is like, is anybody here? You know, more peaceful. Like, I want to
Mhm.
talk to her. I don't want to talk to that jerk.
Mhm.
But even
Yeah.
still, you have, you know, like 16-year-old Elizabeth in her bedroom, like, and a man comes in, you know, what would she do if she was living? She'd be like, what the frick are you doing here?
That is awesome. But is there like, have you know? I've heard this kind of stories. And I don't know if this. Well, I guess it kind of happened to me where I said I went somewhere and I felt like I brought something back. Have you three ever did this investigation and you felt like whatever was there actually somehow followed you back home?
Not me.
Mm-mm.
Nothing
Is it
follows.
because you had like me holy water or something? You bless yourselves before you leave. Is there something you kind of do as a ritual before you
Mhm.
leave so
I
that
do.
won't happen? Oh, so there is.
Yeah, sage, Florida water, holy water. I mean, and all those things are tools for an intention. So you really don't need any of it. You could just say and stand in your truth of, in your power of, you need to stay here. You don't have permission to follow me home, and then walk away.
That's what I
Mhm.
do. I say, you are staying here. You are not allowed to follow me home. That's it.
That's it. It's all intention.
And
It's
seriously,
just
this is
setting
all about-
boundaries.
You know, I love hearing that because I'll be honest, when I go off some investigations, I don't do that when I leave. I need to start like, what does it hurt to say, hey, you're staying here, you're not coming with me?
It's your intention. You know, it's the intent behind whatever you're doing. There's no right or wrong way really to protect yourself as long as your intent is to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Look,
That's-
other women saying, no offense, Eric, I think female energy draws more spirits out, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And I know, I'm agreeing with you, Carla. I've heard that. And
You
I
know
kinda
what it
believe
is?
that
A
too.
lot of men, and I feel like it's just the masculinity of it. There's an ego or an arrogance, like an air. You know, men feel like they have to uphold this certain, I don't know, where it's not even sometimes where I feel like somebody's trying to be arrogant, but a lot of times more men. Not I've seen women too with it though, so it's not.
Oh,
But I feel like more men
there's always a
tend to
percentage.
have a bit of that ego or that arrogance, like the tough guy.
More
where
demanding.
most- Right, more demanding, where the women are
Demanding.
just naturally we're softer.
But even the lovely, lovely men that we work with don't come off like that, but we
No.
still get different energies because we get women, we get children who just feel safer with
That is so
women.
intriguing.
And
It's-
men, we get a little feisty with women. So, you know, we get them all.
No, that truly is intriguing. It's something to really think about. You know. I mean, I'm sure I'd be just like you three. I probably wouldn't be a problem because I'm, I'm there just to discover too, whatever it takes. You know, I don't care what kind of person, people, color, whatever. I want whoever might have the best chance to see something with. I'm there. You know,
Mhm.
Throw in a
women,
wig
men,
and come with
I
us.
could care less. That is awesome. So, what's your next big investigation coming up? I know you say you're working on one now. Do you have like several already set up for the summer in a way?
Yeah, we
Or is
have
it-
a couple weeks actually. We have on April 20th our big 420 event. We are going to be at the Columns Museum in Milford, Pennsylvania, with Brian Cano from Paranormal Caught on Camera. He was on Haunted Collector with John Zaffis. We're going to be doing that. That's a really good one. What else do we have coming up?
And then June 1st is Light Club Curiosity Shop in Sugarloaf. And it's actually pretty cool. We've investigated the before in the basement. It used to be the Underground Railroad. So they used to all connect in this main strip in this tiny little quaint village. All these houses that run along the main strip, which are most of them are businesses now, used to actually all connect underneath. And like in her basement in particular, you could see where they put a wall up where it stops now, like it's sectioned off, but there's actually part where you could start walking underneath where it's almost like a little passageway. That was actually the first location I had ever been physically touched before too, which is so I'm looking forward to going back.
Wow.
Susan, you want to do the Grange?
The Grange is in September. Do you remember the date? And we're
21st.
having 21st. And I don't know, have we announced who Lisa hooked up yet? Lisa. Okay, it's up. I didn't look at it yet.
Oh, we're
Um,
announcing here.
Okay. Tell me who they are again. I can't remember.
Okay, so they're the Radicals. They have a haunted museum. They drive it around in the hearse.
Have you three ever came up north? I mean, on the West Coast and did any investigations before?
No,
No.
we're gonna have to take a trip.
No.
Road trip.
I want to go to Queen Mary if we do that. That's my.
Oh my God!
On a plane, Lisa.
Who said Queen Mary? Lisa, I swear to God, I was gonna pop it up because I was about to ask you three
Psychic.
about have any of you been to Queen Mary?
I've been.
You have?
Oh, okay, you've been.
Yeah.
You've been.
Mhm.
Have you ever had any experience on the Queen Mary?
It goes way back to when I was in my 20s, and I didn't have any experience. But of course, I wasn't doing anything at the time, like involved in this. It was just my own emotion, and there's an energy on that ship. There's an energy. There's just a vibe on that ship. Like you feel like there's almost like somebody watching you kind of down. I remember there was one, I think you got to see the rooms. There was a lot of like wood. It was absolutely beautiful. And you could feel like somebody was like kind of watching you, kind of walking along with you. It's a beautiful ship. It's beautiful. It's like stepping back in time.
Oh, it is, because right here, this is Queen Mary right here. I was
Queen Mary. Okay. Now,
I went to Queen Mary.
as of right now, we're looking for
You know,
the hallway to the bedroom.
that's
Okay,
the
I'm gonna
hallway
just
of Queen
pause.
Mary. This is on
we are,
top
all
of Queen Mary. And
We're
then
looking. Gunner, you imagine.
there's me. Of course, you can't see my face. There's my face. I was so younger then.
Do you hear anything?
Yeah, we
Red
walked.
rum, red rum. Nothing. Nothing. No sounds. No.
See, I was mad because I did investigate. We were there for 2 nights. I did investigation with my son. Then the next night, I took my daughter out on the investigation to see if they will respond to her more than my kid. Unfortunately, I got nothing. I mean, I was angry because nothing. I was walking around the whole ship, EMP, doing everything. And I don't know if it's just bad timing or bad luck, or maybe the ghost didn't like me or something. But I didn't catch nothing on Queen Mary. And everybody else who goes to Queen Mary have all experienced something.
It
But not
happens.
me. I know.
Most notorious haunted places. We've gone to the Shanley Hotel several times, and sometimes we've got nothing, and sometimes we get a boatload of activity. Like, no pun intended, but it's hit or miss.
Well, overall, Queen Mary is a beautiful ship because if people don't know, you can rent a room there. There's that's me pretending I was Titanic. I'm king of the world. Everybody has to do that on a ship, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jack. I was talking about how Jack, how I blame her for letting Jack drown because
He could've
there's plenty of room for Jack to be on that little raft, and she didn't let him on there, so she didn't really like him.
Nope. She wanted a clean slate. She didn't
But
want no man.
I gone over. Usually I only run an hour, but I was having so much fun with you three. But before we go, is there anything you want to tell people before we leave? And I appreciate you three being on here. This was fun.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
Well, you know what's funny, Lucy, Suzanne. I when I first went to do that not that share thing, but to message to see if you want to come on the show. Nicole was on my channel with Andy's Decode on my channel, and she goes, "Eric, I think you message my team." I did. I'm like, "Who's your team?" Oh, right. And I was like, "Wow, what a small world."
Mm-hmm.
It's a true small world because I didn't know she was part of that group that I message.
Yep.
So that was awesome. Awesome.
I told you, like Susan said, things just happen. People connect, and
It's meant to be.
Right. The universe puts them in your place.
Mm-hmm.
So once I get the date in the summer, we're going there. If I could get that that house all to ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, literally to ourselves. None of the workers there, because they know we're not going to damage it because
Yeah.
their family still lives in that town.
They'll
I
find
think
you.
me and my brother-in-law will be in big, huge trouble if we trash the place. But if we do, I will send an invite for your team, and just go all in that house and just see what we can find.
Yeah, we've had some amazing experience in there. Like one of the
Beautiful.
best
If people don't know,
experiences.
the 1890 house is beautiful. It's connected with all these other houses for the college. For college kids have dormant homes and all that for school. Portland's college. So
Yeah,
it's
the
a
basement
beautiful
there?
place.
Where the museum is, it's off the charts active.
Yeah. You just got to be careful with the bars in the downtown part. Some of the Portland people, they could be pretty mean. It's you could tell the difference between the college students and the people who live in that town. And sometimes they don't interlink very well.
Yeah.
I'm just lucky that I have some family there that they I'm cool just being with them. I'm accepted because I'm in the family by marriage. And now, so beyond that, anything else you do want to say before we end the show? And then again, thank you for coming on. I had a blast.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks
Thanks for having us. Yeah, just follow us we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that.
There you go, people in the chat. I hope all of you enjoyed today's show. And next week I'm probably going to do another live show, which you guys saw in the last 2 weeks. I did one on the Pier Des Moines, where the famous Mary Island UFO incident has happened. And I took you guys to the Devil's Hand. I'm planning next week to take you all to the graveyard where the famous Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee, and Kurt Cobain, because they're all in the same graveyard. So I'm planning to do a live show from there before they kick me out. Get this guy out of here. But I'll sneak in there. I'll pretend that and we'll see what we get. So I want to thank every single one of you for being here, and beyond that, we'll see everybody later. See you guys all next time. Oh yeah, tomorrow, people, I forgot, tomorrow Dr. Wu's coming on tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about, would you donate your blood to science? Do you trust the government to have your blood? Are you afraid they're going to do clones? And there's a reason why I'm bringing that subject up tomorrow. There's a big reason. Do you want to be on tomorrow? Why am I bringing it up? Should we donate our blood to the government for science? Sounds strange, but there's a reason why I'm bringing it up tomorrow. I'll see everybody next time.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. Did you see it?